Hey guys, this is Dietmar Ost from Germany, Opel Consulting, and I would love to share a tool with you that we have created to support our deployment process to actually move code changes in plsql, Apex, or ORDS from development to test, production, whatever environment you have to deal with. So in the past, it has been a somewhat manual process to actually move those things over to the next environment. And especially if you have a lot of changes to move, that can become error prone as a process. So we wanted to improve that and make sure that automatically the SQL scripts that we created are run in the desired order, that we also don't have to manually code a release. Let's say we have a driving script and you run the different packages, the views, the tables, and you also have to make sure that it's run in the correct order so that you don't have dependency issues. So the tables come first, then the foreign key constraints, packages, views, and whatnot. Automatic logs are nice. And it should be also highly configurable, because when we work with different clients, they might have a different file system structure. And so we want to be adaptable. Also, when you download the whole solution from GitHub, it comes already packaged with the SQL libraries included, embedded into it, so that Apex export and REST export for the ORDS modules is already embedded and can be used. We don't have any specific requirements for you to do things in a certain way. There's just one requirement, that all changes are done through files, which makes total sense. If you make changes live in production systems manually, that just opens a can of worms. So all changes are done through files. So let's jump right in to give you an overview of what a workflow could actually look like. So the first thing, let's assume we work on a Jira ticket 1. We will initialize a patch for that. And this will actually copy a folder structure, the patch template, onto the new patch. It's the naming is by year, and then the current date with the patch name. So in here, we have a SQL folder, and we are working with schema 1, for example. Then let's create a folder to hold the table script. Since we are making a change to the table dummy, we will name the file that. And let's start SQL dev. We connect as schema 1, and we edit the file here. So alter table dummy add column 1 orcar to 50. When we run that, it works. We see that the syntax is correct. Okay. The next thing is we want to make a change to a package. And so we will go to the source tree, which for the SQL code is organized by schema, packages, and we want to make a change to the xlib log package. Connect as schema 1, and I just do it in the comment, but you get the idea. So we made a change here, and we made a change in that package. Connect the schema 1. That's it. So now we've made a change to those files. In order to use them in our patch, we just register them, and we say xlib log pks and xlib log pkb. We have a pre-generated patch batch file to copy the sources. and it picked up the xlib log pks and copied them from the source tree schema1 packages to the patch tree schema1 090 packages. And that is just the specification. The body we want to have in a different directory for the package body, so that all the specifications are installed first, so that the dependencies work better, and then the bodies. As we can see here, we created that table folder, but the packages and package bodies were created by the copy routine. In order to actually deploy that now to the test system, and all the connection pools are already set up, the files are generated through the setup routine. We do like color coding so that we can immediately see for the integration and test environment, that's yellow, and for the production environment, that's red. So now we see a listing of the files that it finds, and the Java program will iterate recursively through the directory structures. So we can see that it will install the tables script, and then the package specification, and then the body. So that looks good. Now it will actually connect to the database and run each script one after the other, right? So we stop after each script in order to make sure that everything worked well, that we didn't get any errors, so that we can fix that right away. But you also have a command line switch to turn the prompting off. So that looks all good. We recompile the schema, no invalid objects, and we can even install it on the production system. Same procedure, we already know that, and it worked as well. So that wasn't too hard. We also have like log files generated automatically. And when you look at the tables that actually record all the different patches, we can now see that the Jira 1 ticket was deployed on the target system production and also on test. We can even automatically see which files were run as part of the patch. So that was quite a simple example where we actually did copy all the files in there. The thing with the patch template, you can modify everything in there. You could even pick up a different patch template as part of the same structure, right? So we created a different one, and I created a new batch file to pick up that patch template. So let's work on Jira ticket 2. So we copy that different patch template, and this time we will make the changes directly in the database. So we make a change here, and this time it is the Jira ticket 2. And we also modify the body. So working directly in the database is not recommended, but sometimes it does make sense to work this way. Depends on you. Also, we have an Apex application and we have ORDS REST modules. So first, export from schema1 the xlib log package, and we can export that here. Actually, let me just quickly show that. So the header will tell you all the different parameters that were passed on the command line. So we can include certain objects, we can exclude certain names. Those are mostly auto-generated things from the database. We can exclude specific types and so on. You have so many different command line switches that you can use, and then you can actually see the generated query on all objects that is used for exporting the object. So you can influence everything. Okay, so we have spooled the database package, and now we can also simply export the Apex application that we need, and also the ORDS module. So as a result, we have two new folders with the Apex application and the REST modules. So how did that come about? Well, we are just calling a SQL script, and in there we are leveraging the Apex export and the REST export functionality. And this is already part of the default distribution just commented out. So you get an idea on how to do that. So now let's say in our patch, we want to copy all the Apex applications and the ORDS modules. And we want to reference the packages from the source tree. So typically you would do either one and not both, but I just want to show that you can mix and match to whatever is most convenient for you. During setup, we will generate all the different sections into this file, but you can take everything out as we've just seen before. You just have to look for the right section, xlib log pks, xlib log pkb. That's it. So for copying the source files, we already know that. And it did copy the Apex files, and it did copy the ORDS REST module. What is also nice is before actually running the install, you might want to check, are the connection pools okay, and are the files in the right order? So you can run a validate, which does exactly that. So here you can see the files that would be installed, and for the files that are referenced, you can actually see that they are being picked up from the source tree and not actually from the patch itself. And when we continue, it will actually connect to the database so that the connection pools are validated. And then you can simply install the patch, right? And it will pick up the right files either from the patch subdirectories or from the source tree. That's it. So how can you set everything up? And that is not that complicated. Actually, it's almost trivial. So it comes with setup routines for Windows and also Linux and Mac. So we call setup. First, we have like a starting directory, typically the directory where you have your Git export or SVN, but it doesn't have to be. So we use C projects sample3, and then you can provide each of the different directories, right? Where do you want to have the software located? Where is your patch template? Where do you want to have the user configuration folder with the different connection pools? Should be typically outside of Git. And you need a script to initialize your environment, the SQL source tree, the patches, and then you can list the schemas you want to work with. Let's say we want to work with the schema JI test. We want to have all three environments, dev, test, prod. If you have, if I just hit enter, it'll pick up the default, but I can just also list them. The colors are fine. Dev will be the development environment. So the export utility will automatically pick up that connection pool. And we're going to use the Windows encoding on this system. So for the development environment, that is the right database. And to the user JII test, we will connect as JI test. Enter the password. That is correct. That is correct. Okay, so that was the whole setup. And now we have pre-generated folders. So the user folder has connection pools for all the different environments. The passwords are automatically encrypted. This is the script to set up your environment. And all the other batch scripts are automatically picking those things up. And there's a number of tools. I want to keep it short here. You can read up in the documentation what is where and how to actually use that. But you can very easily move those batch scripts around. Oops. So that you have it in a different location to initialize the patches and everything. So that was not too hard to set up. So actually, you don't have to build a patch at the end of the release cycle. You build it along the way, and you just register the changes that you want to include into that patch. The connection pools are already set up for the different environments, and you can still change those later on. And it's really hard to install into the wrong environment. So I've built the software which is written in Java. And it generates automatically in the setup routine the different batch files. It works on the major operating systems. It leverages DBMS metadata and SQL. And you have the binaries already included. And you can find the download here. Make sure to download the release because only that includes the full binaries, else you would have to build it if you do just a git clone. And that's it. Enjoy.